that summer is when I realized this is the job I want to have one day. Hey everyone, I'm Evelyn and welcome to a little mini series that I want to start on my YouTube channel where I just sit down and we talk about all things college, career, just how I got to where I am today. So for those of you who may not know, based on a video I last posted called Day in the Life of a Product Manager, I'm currently a product manager working in tech. I graduated Cal at the end of the year last year and I started work at the end of January 2020. So I've been in my role for about a little over 6 months now, and I absolutely love it. But in my journey to where I got to where I am today, there's just a lot of steps along the way that I wish someone had kind of given me advice on, and I wish there was more out there on the internet about this role itself, about how people choose their major, about how people choose their roles, just different things like that. So not necessarily anything really having to do with product manager specifically. But recently I've had a bunch of people, I guess since it's full-time recruiting season, reach out to me and ask me a lot of questions about how I got to where I am today in my current role, how I chose that role, what I do on a day-to-day, different things like that. And I figured, you know what, since people are contacting me one-on-one to talk about it, which is incredible that they go through the effort to do that, I'm more than happy to share. Why not answer those questions in the form of a YouTube video and put it out there for the world in case anyone else is wondering as well. Today's video, I wanted to specifically talk about my journey to getting to my current role itself as a product manager. And with this, I'll go ahead and bring you all back to my freshman year of college. So I went into UC Berkeley not really knowing what major I wanted to be. I had taken, a wide variety of classes in high school, as I'm sure everyone else has as well, like AP Bio, Chem. I even took the AP Computer Science course, but none of them really clicked with me. I didn't take any of those classes and think, yes, I want to be a chemist in the future or anything like that. Just nothing really clicked with me, but I loved actively doing things, planning things. I loved volunteering. I loved writing. So I kind of just took all those little things that I liked and I figured, you know what, maybe business or communications is the path I want to go into. So heading into college, I decided to pursue that kind of path, business/communications, journalism, something in that direction. And at UC Berkeley, you actually don't apply to their undergrad business program until you are a second year. So I had a whole year of just thinking, what if I don't get in? What is my backup major going to be? And interestingly enough, at Cal, there's just such a huge interest in computer science. Their introductory CS course called CS61A actually has, I forgot how many, but it was over 1,000 students enrolled, and every semester there was just over 1,000 students enrolled. It was this huge course, and I would always hear about it because so many of my friends were either taking it, planning on taking it, or considering taking it. And I figured second semester, had some extra units to fill up, why not take this introductory course? I mean, it was an introductory course, right? Yeah, little did I know it's much, much harder than I thought. But I loved it. I don't know if I loved it because of the content itself or just because everyone around me was so excited about it. And honestly, the homework was pretty fun and things like that. Having come from Southern California, tech isn't huge down there. And I would say tech is definitely a lot bigger in the Bay Area, of course, because of Silicon Valley. I just didn't know that much about software engineering. I didn't know that much about CS, and I had a great time with it. I figured, you know what, why not kind of keep going on the CS path? I had heard my friends talk about, CS internships, the salary of a software engineer post-college, and I was thinking, well, that does sound lucrative and it does sound like a good bet to take, especially since at Cal, computer science was such a huge thing and we had such great instructors. and there was just such a big community in the CS world. So I kind of just kept going with the CS route, and I did end up applying as a business major, and thankfully I got in because I absolutely loved the undergrad experience I had at Haas. By the end of my sophomore year is when I started to really dive into, okay, what is my future career going to look like? At the time, I had taken more computer science courses than I had taken business courses. So instead of applying to like consulting or finance or anything like that and those kinds of internships, I decided to apply to some software engineering internships. And I studied really hard, and I practiced a bunch of coding questions. I was on LeetCode all the time, worked my butt off. Thankfully, I got an internship summer of my sophomore year. So off I went to my software engineering internship, and I loved my team, I liked my project, but what I found is that in my day-to-day, my daily tasks, I guess, wasn't as interesting as I hoped it would have been. I was listening to my full-time software engineering friends around me talk about their day-to-days and about how interesting they felt it was, how they loved the problems they were solving, and I honestly just didn't feel the same. But I don't think it was because of the project, because when I was talking to my peers around me, the software engineers that I was working with, they all seemed very inspired by the problems that they were trying to solve, and they're very much problem solvers in the space of in the context of being a software engineer, and they loved what they were doing, and I just didn't feel that same passion. So that summer I ended up talking to a bunch of different people on my team. I talked to the designers, I talked to the user researchers, I talked to the product managers, I talked to everyone in all different roles that I could, just trying to get a better sense of what it is they do on a day-to-day and what excites them about work. And for me, what stood out the most was the product manager role. They talked about how they were always kind of looking towards the future. They were working really closely with customers, listening to customers, trying to figure out how to solve user problems. And I was like, that sounds fun. Like, that sounds like something I'd love to try. Knowing that the product manager role really stood out to me, I thought it was something that I needed to try before going into any full-time role. So thankfully I had another summer, another internship that I could do. And when I got my return offer as a software engineering internship, I kind of asked around to see if it was possible to turn that into a product management internship. I, of course, had to go through the whole interview cycle and everything like that again. I PM interview prepped for the first time, which is a whole different world from software engineering internship interview prep. If you have any questions about that, I'd love to make a separate video. But yeah, I studied for my product management interviews and whatnot, and I managed to get through. So I got a return offer as a product manager intern the following summer. I would say that in my junior year of college, I really didn't do anything differently. I took my CS classes and my business classes as usual. I kind of recruited a little bit just to see what other roles were out there, but I loved the company that I had previously interned at, and I had already met the team and everything already, so I was very set on going back as a product management intern the following summer. So the following summer rolled around, and I absolutely loved the role. I had a fantastic time working with my team. I love the product management role itself, working closely along with the other product managers as well, listening to their responsibility areas, the projects they were working on. That summer is when I realized this is the job I want to have one day. The way I'd go about comparing my previous summer as a software engineering intern to the next summer as a product management intern is I just had a greater drive in the project that I was working on. I felt more inspired to kind of take that project further. I was just more excited about going back to work and even working outside of work and on my laptop at a cafe, just trying to do as much possible as I could in that summer alone. And that to me is kind of the point where I was like, light bulb, I want to be a product manager full-time. So yes, at this point, you know, I only have a year left of college. I feel like I finally found the perfect role for me post-grad, but of course, like everyone else, I still full-time recruited the summer after my junior year internship when full-time recruiting season rolled around. So I applied everywhere as a product manager, and for a lot of tech companies, they have these new grad programs. So they're either called associate product manager, junior level product manager, new grad product manager, things like that. So I applied to any company that was really hiring a new grad product manager. and I studied up once again on the product manager interviews, got all the books that were recommended to me for product manager interviews, talked to as many people as I could who were current product managers to get their advice as well. And I went through the entire recruiting cycle, and it was such a crazy whirlwind. Oh my goodness. It's actually kind of funny. You see the same people actually at these interviews. There's almost like a community of people who want to be product managers, and you just start seeing the same people at these interviews, which I thought was pretty cool. So yeah, just another little thing to point out. And yeah, I went through the whole cycle. I ended up deciding to come back full-time to the company that I had previously interned with, because I ended up being able to find an offer with an amazing team in the Bay Area, the team that I'm with today. And I absolutely love them. I wouldn't change it for the world, and I'm having just the best time. Yeah, that's my path to becoming a product manager and how I ended up where I am today. At the end of the day, I would say my biggest takeaway from my entire journey is just don't be afraid to try new opportunities. I went into college not at all knowing that this role even existed. Never in my wildest dreams would I have thought that I would try to even be a software engineer. That just never crossed my mind before college. But now, I mean, look at where I am today. And so I'm very glad that I tried out those experiences, because it allowed me to figure out, one day when I go full time, what will excite me every day. What is a job that I will absolutely want to and love to come back to day after day. And of course, I think a big part of that is also the team. So a big thing for people to take into consideration when going full-time is the team that you're going to be working with in addition to the role. Because while, that role may dictate what you're doing on a day-to-day, at the end of the day, it's the people that you're working with that I think will really complete your experience. And yeah, that's it for this video. I hope to make some more. Feel free to comment any questions that you might have down below, whether it be about picking a college or picking a major, any questions that you might have at all. I think I will continue to use a lot of the questions that people have asked me in the past to kind of dictate the next questions that I'll answer on my YouTube channel. But yeah, thanks for watching. And with that, I will see you in the next video.